Ratings agency has downgraded South Africa's foreign and local currency ratings to sub-investment grade or junk status. The agency says the country's long-term ratings downgrade is because it believes recent political events, including the cabinet reshuffle, will weaken standards of governance and public finances. Fitch says it expects the fiscal policy to change after former Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan and his deputy, Mcebisi Jonas, were replaced. The ratings agency's outlook remains stable, though. It says if the country's investment climate improves and there is growth, the next review may well be positive. Let's get some analysis on the story now. Joining us on the line from Johannesburg is Muziwethu Matema. He is an economist with KPMG. Muziwethu, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. What is your response to Fitch? Not exactly unexpected news.
Not unexpected news, but it's been the past 7 days have been a very tough 7 days economically, and it will take us a bit of time to really realize the negative impact of these outcomes.
Muziwethu, Fitch was pretty clear in its reasons for this decision, believes recent political events. It also cites the cabinet reshuffle. What kind of response are you expecting from government this afternoon?
I can't speculate on what government will respond to on the downgrade, but basically what I can be clear about is what the impact this will have on households, what is the impact it will have on growth, and the impact on interest rates going forward.
And what do you expect that to be?
So basically, the man on the street is going to be hit in two ways. Firstly, because fiscal policy will need to find other ways to raise government revenues in a finite fiscal environment. They are likely to raise taxes. So we're going to see very increases in taxes. The VAT tax increase, which has been speculative, might become a reality. Secondly, because state-owned entities cannot be at the same level as a sovereign bond, state-owned entities will all be reviewed downwards. You saw after the Moody's, after the S&P downgrade, Eskom and the rest being downgraded, you would expect the same move from the Fitch downgrade. So this means if a state-owned entity wants to build this infrastructure project to meet a utility, that utility is going to be financed through increasing the cost of that utility. So that's how it's going to affect consumers. Firstly, at a fiscal level. Secondly, at the cost of utilities. Then a third layer is obviously because banks also have to be below the self-sovereign rating. That means interest rates that banks charge to consumers will be much higher. So basically there will be less disposable income, higher interest rates on the consumers.
Muziwethu, so S&Ps and Fitch now downgrading us to junk status. Why is it important that we now have two downgrades?
It basically means we're now out of the bond index. We are now, whilst we were still borderline junk, we're now deep into junk territory. Anyone who wants to invest in South African bonds is basically doing it on a speculative basis.
And when are we expecting a decision from Moody's?
I think now that it's 2 out of 3 Moody's who head mentality and peer mentality, Moody's is likely to follow.
All right, some disheartening news there. A downgrade to junk status by Fitch. That's the second ratings agency, S&P's downgrade announced earlier this week. That was Muziwethu Matema. He is an economist with KPMG.